X and other places. So I'll be right back. More. So I'm back. Hey, Cross. This is what happened. I woke up this morning and got a message from YouTube that a video that I put out in 2017 before 9/11 as a tribute. Let me preface this with I was in Arlington, Virginia on 9/11 and had to evacuate. We shut down our offices and left. I was working at the Leadership Institute at the time. And so I have a little bit of a connection to it. Hey, Baz. And, you know, basically, I was a wartime bride. I mean, Rudy and I got married in 2004. So that whole thing, seeing it happen, going to look at the Pentagon, was very emotional. So I made this video. I was suffering from a broken bone when I made it, and it was great. I mean, it was fine. Didn't get a lot of response because most people want to be here for science fiction news and Star Wars and stuff, but it got an adequate amount of response. It was just pictures of what happened and the song "Have You Forgotten," and I thought it was okay. This morning I woke up, they took it down. I got a warning, and basically they were asking me if I was okay, because whoever flagged it, I'm sure, complained that I was being suicidal by posting this video. No, sorry. What the fuck? All right. So what I'm gonna say is this: I've got a channel over on Rumble. So if you're on Rumble, please come and follow, because I'm gonna start expanding this, and I also will be uploading to X. All right, I might as well do that. I will still be here, but someone out there is trying to shut me up, and Cameron and I have had a long discussion about it, and I think the same people that have gone after him, and I'm not talking about the black pills, I'm talking about other people, are going after me. Why? Because we know what's going on at Lucasfilm, and they are bound and determined to make sure the narrative stays what it is, because it's one of those things where they would rather see their jobs disappear and Star Wars die than have people like what the new people are doing. And they're not going to have that if people like me go out and say, yeah, but this was a good show, you should watch it, or I didn't like this part of it, but you should watch it, right? So yeah, I think it's somebody connected to certain people at Lucasfilm or wherever. And I mean, God, it could be, I don't know, it could be somebody else that I haven't even thought of. But, when you make enemies, you're over the target. And, you get shit like this, you're over the target. YouTube is not helpful. How's that, Kirill? YouTube is not helpful. They don't try to control bot attacks. Because the person I talked to basically said, yes, there are lots of bot attacks. Well, we can't really stop them. What? These are the things this is the problem. If you've got a platform like this, you should be able to control false flagging, which is exactly what it is. And, they don't do it, they don't want to, And you guys know that, Google fired a bunch of people, right? They laid a bunch of people off. And of course, they're under an antitrust thing, and the judge hasn't come back. Okay, Cross, thank you. The judge hasn't come back. Can you put the link in the description? Thanks. The judge hasn't come back and ruled yet. It's a very complicated case because Google is very big, and of course, Google owns YouTube. But the fact of the matter is, if they can't control, bot attacks, and Elon Musk can do that. If you do that on X, you'll get blocked you'll get banned for doing that. And and the best thing you can do is verify your account, which I have one. There's no way to. I mean, I am a YouTube Prime member, but I don't get to protect my account in the way that it's protected at X. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? And I could take down all my videos. I have over 5,000 videos. Anybody know how long that would take me? I could private all of them. That would be twice as long, because you got to go into each one and hit private and do it all, right? And really, why should I have to be the person doing that? I'm the victim, right? I'm the one getting shit. I'm the one who's basically going, you guys can say whatever you want, but Matt Bellany, blah, 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 and blah, 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 I'm the one that's saying, and I'm sorry, if the boss is leaving, if the boss is leaving and your job is on the line, that's not my problem. I just report what's going on, right? I report that, this is what's going on. It's like, Kennedy can say whatever she wants. But when you read between the lines, she said she's leaving, right? Matt Bellany pretty much bit back at the proctologist that interviewed her too, and her idiot PR agent. Nothing I can do about it. If that bothers you, that the truth is getting out there, maybe, just maybe, you should have taken Cameron Pasha's advice years ago and found a new gig, right? Because there's no reason for Disney and whoever comes in, be it Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni and Favreau, Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck, answering to Favreau in some way, whatever. There's absolutely no reason for a company that is suffering the way Lucasfilm is to waste money in a paycheck for people like this, right? You can go to Blue Sky, the behavior has not changed, right? If they behave the way on X as the way they behave Blue Sky, they would get assaulted by all of us. And, because I'm here, you don't have a safe space. I have almost 3,000 subscribers. I'm a little channel. The algorithm has killed views on purpose. I'm pretty sure that the mass flagging, mass bot attacks have done some good. And, again, I don't know for sure who's behind it, but if they can go after Cameron and a chance for him to speak at AFI, then come after me for absolutely no fucking reason at all, right? I have a little channel. They won't go after Geeks and Gamers. They won't go after Doomcock. They won't go after that park place because that park, they'll do what Kennedy wants them to do, destroy Star Wars. That's what they do. They have a narrative. And if you tell them, you're helping her, they get all mad. It's like, and as Napoleon said, don't get in your enemy's way when he's making a mistake, right? These guys are making a mistake, and Kennedy is letting it happen. And they're letting it happen. Now I get shit because, I might know stuff about what's going on. Like, okay, let's go. This last week we saw Pippa Anderson, who is 5 below Kennedy in the pecking order, leave. She was the vice president of post-production. I think she probably retired. But still, this is the time, that changes are coming. You get out, collect your pension, and get the F out. All right? They lost their director of marketing and social media. What? Yeah, Dustin Sandoval. That's the third one in not so many years. The first one they had was knee deep in attacking the fans. He was let go, and then they went from a black guy to a black woman. She left. Sandoval showed up, and I don't think they stay very long. But again, people are leaving. There are changes coming, and this lashing out at people. What does that help? Does it make you feel better? Still, at the end of the day, you didn't do the right thing to get the hell out before you got chopped. I'll give you a hint. When Army announced his retirement, I went to presidential personnel and said, I helped, I was a volunteer at the national headquarters. I was on the inaugural committee for George W. Bush. Find me a place, because my boss is leaving, and I don't want to be without a paycheck. And they did. Now, it wasn't where I wanted to go, which was the Department of Defense or the Department of Justice, but it was still, twice as much money. I was able to pretty much live without a roommate, and then, I quit the job because I got married. All right. I got out of there before before the end. People were a little mad, but I wanted a safe place to fall. And that's what you do. You can't, look, she's leaving. New people are coming in. They have to slim the company down. In looking at just the statistics of what books and publishing are doing right now, I don't see where it's makes any sense to keep the publishing entity at Lucasfilm as big as it is. I would probably let go everybody but maybe 2 people. All right? And then go back to what worked with the EU, contract authors with rules. Okay, and just tell them your, politics are not involved. We want A, B, C, and D. And are you actually a Star Wars fan? Because none of the people they hired were. I mean, every time, you read a PR blurb about, Claudia Gray, just not a Star Wars fan. She's a sexually obsessed purple-haired land whale. I mean, so there you go. But I would probably cut that out quite a bit. We'll talk about experts in the lore. Well, no one knows more about it than Dave Filoni. Then you have Leland Chee. Why do you have Pablo Hidalgo? Redundancies. And where redundancies, like on a ship, and capabilities, etc., that's a good thing. In flight, a good thing, etc. Redundancies in companies that aren't quite as big, that aren't like the size of, you know, Exxon, are stupid. Lucasfilm is not that big of an entity. So really, having 3 or 4, 5, 6 people who all do the same thing, when you could have 2, you know, I mean, it wouldn't be really that difficult to keep up with people. You know, that they could actually keep up on it. And, Cross is right. The guy, I first realized he was a shit. He went after a friend of mine, very young man, who actually ran for mayor of his hometown. He didn't win. Kid had a question about The Last Jedi. Instead of being nice, Pablo just abused him. And I was like, so I started watching this. And the guy just walked all over everybody. This is not how you do customer service and customer relations. I was like, this guy's supposed to be a professional, guy, and he's behaving like a jackass. And so, that really kind of soured my opinion, and then my opinion just got worse of him. The fight he had with Abu Nas, the racist bullcrap they were going through, it was just, and really, why would you want to hold on to people like that? Why are they still there? Because Kennedy technically is still there, and she's protecting their jobs. If you go back to 2018, how many of you guys remember it was around this time of year, the freak out he had? Do you guys remember? He kind of left Twitter, and his bio said, all billionaires should be something and mulched. And hi, and et cetera, right? Yeah, okay. I think he nearly got fired then. Kennedy saved him. I think when he went off after Star Wars Theory, I think she saved his ass again. He was forced to apologize. It was literally the most insincere dumpster fire apology that I've ever seen in my life. It was like, what? I would have fired him for that apology. But that's just me. So this is, what's going on. And, technically he's still there. The thing about it is that the book that he put out there, the Acolyte Visual Guide, was dumped now. It should have been dumped out onto the market last summer at this time, and they didn't. Why? The movie, that show was so bad, it couldn't even be quantified how bad it was. Now, the idiots who like it, Pablo, people behind it, wanted to scream. It was, Rotten Tomatoes got spammed. No, they didn't. They didn't get spammed. Fans hated it. This is what happens when you can't accept the reality of the situation. That thing sucked. I've had people say to me that Andor only got 5 million views. This is supposed to be streaming. Is that really that good? You got to think about it, right? And it just, I don't, it's time for someone from HR, from Disney, will get the Bobs from the office space, and start going through personnel to find out what they really do all day, and then organize the place in a way that is efficient, right? Efficiency. Lucasfilm needs a Doge. They need someone like Doge to go in there and start, auditing where the money went. I guarantee you, if they audited the Acolyte, there'd be people in jail. All right. Yeah, but the excuse in 2018, because we were all hoping she would be gone then. They couldn't get anybody to come in and take over for Kennedy because it was in the middle of a trilogy, and Lucasfilm is horrible. This is what you do. Bob, I will take the job if you let me clean house, right? If you let me get rid of the bad apples. It's not difficult to figure out who the bad apples are. I mean, well, yeah, that, but it was mostly, the excuse was, at least through the Black Pills, they couldn't find somebody to run Lucasfilm because they're in the middle of a trilogy and it was just a shithole to try to run. Very much a den of snakes. Because look, that would be the dream job, right? When we all grew up to work at Lucasfilm and to run it and to keep up, George's legacy, hell yeah, right? But no. We got this woman who worked for him, worked with him, and she drove it into the ground. All right, what? And I don't really blame people who've been approached who said no. Now we don't, THR came out with a list of people who could replace Kennedy, and, Jon Favreau wasn't mentioned. But if you go back to Star Wars Celebration, he said he wasn't going anywhere, so what's going on here? All right, I still believe that he's going to have a position probably above the president at Disney, and he'll be able to say yay or nay. That they won't be able to do anything without his approval. And I think George is probably, as much as he can be, will probably be involved with it, right? George, he fired the woke person who was running his museum. He fired him. Fired a bunch of wokesters there. Now he's running that operation himself. Okay, what'd you write? People are fed up with being bitched to because they don't like what you do. Yeah, Cross is right. It is complicated. I don't know if Kennedy actually has any, deep dark secrets holding him over Iger's head. I'm kind of skeptical in that because if you got something like that and you want to save your job, you put it out there, right? And that's the bottom line. She wanted to save her job. And look, do you guys remember the hit piece on Iger that came out last August in the New York Times? It was, it was just absolutely the cattiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to say this. The former CFO, Christine McCarthy was part of it. Susan Arnold, and I think Dana Walden, and I think they probably got Kennedy on board to spread these lies around and spread the story around to make Iger look bad. And this was after the big the proxy fight with Nelson Peltz and Elon. And I'm like going, that's who I think was behind it. They attacked Bob Chapek and attacked Iger. And it was just, oh yeah, good to see you too, Roheg. I can't remember the last time we talked, you know? But anyway, so I think that, I'm sorry, but I think that this is a false flagging event that YouTube doesn't care to stop, because they really don't. And I'm sorry, but if you treat people like shit, like Pablo has, like his wife has, like Matt Martin has, like Hal Hicks, the animator, has, attacking Gina Carano, starting the Fire Gina Carano hashtag on Twitter. If you're basically a pointless waste of oxygen like Leslie Headland, I'm going to call you out. You don't like it? I don't care. Your fee-fees don't matter. Okay? Sorry. Yeah, it was 2020. But, so yeah, this is going on. I did a video about the book. The book that came out, The Acolyte Visual Guide. Here's something funny. Phil Szostak probably should have been the one to do it. He was on the HR list to terminate back. This thing came out a year ago. Pablo's name was on it, Matt Martin's name was on it, and others. And I haven't seen anything of his come out in a while, so it kind of makes me wonder if he's still there or not. A lot of people don't update their LinkedIn. So I don't know. And again, like I said, let's go through the people we're on. Carrie Hart was thrown under the bus around this time last year for both the failure of the Last Jedi and Solo, right? She was the one that said, with all of her experience, we should make The Last Jedi on the first draft. Okay, Roig, and she got fired. What's stupid about that? George Lucas likes to talk. He was he was doing a fellowship at Warner Brothers, I think, and they were in the process of being taken over or being sold to another company. He literally walked past Jack Warner in the hall, and they asked him what he wanted to do, and he really didn't know. He was into animation, and so they said, well, walk around, look around, see what you like. So he walked onto a movie set, and it was Finian's Rainbow, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and Francis Ford Coppola, and the star was Fred Astaire. And, he was like, this is boring. So Coppola kept him around for a while, and then Coppola decided, I see something in him, and they started to be friends. Coppola told him, your first draft is going to suck. So you rewrite, you rewrite, you rewrite, and you rewrite. Contrast that with Carrie Hart, bounding up to Kennedy like a big dumb dog with this frickin' terribly written script We should, this is the first draft, we should just film this. Kennedy, who could actually probably, we should assume knew better. Okay. So they do it. What? Okay. Then, we get Soylo, a Soy War story. Who gets fired? The black woman, Carrie Hart. Instead of Kennedy leaving, and if you're the boss, you're the one at fault. You're the one that has to go first. Kennedy threw Carrie Hart under the bus. Then we get that black guy that was running their social media. He blocked me on Twitter, by the way, or X. Was replaced by a black woman who left, who was replaced, Hank Orange Grove, who was replaced by a Latino guy. Now he's gone. And they don't, they don't replace him. There's no replacement. We've got Rain Roberts, who, according to Sparrow, did not get along with John or Dave. She migrated over to Searchlight, the art house part of Fox. And Max Taylor, I don't know where that guy went. And then we got, Pippa Anderson, who was pretty high up in the company. I'm going to say again, she retired. She was there for a long time. And Dustin Sandoval, the social media guy, left. So he's gone. Hi, Orange Grove. How you doing, man? So it's like, I'm like going, what is going on here? And why is my channel being attacked? And, I know why. Because, I'll tell you a story. And this is about Cameron. So a few months ago, he was up to do a speech on minorities in Hollywood. And he's all getting ready for it, getting close to time, gets a phone call from his friend at AFI, which was where he was going to do the speech. And they told him they canceled it. Who's on the board of directors? The board of governors or whatever there are. They're Kathleen Kennedy. So my thing is, Miss Woke is the biggest problem here. She's a racist. You'll never find a bigger racist than an awful, affluent, white, ultra-leftist, affluent, white, female, ultra-leftist. An awful. That's what they are. They're awfuls. And, because Cameron was getting the word out. There's shit going down in Lucasfilm. She is not really there anymore. I mean, I talked to a friend of mine, I'm not going to say who, in England. He's connected to a very wonderful actor that we all love. I'm not going to say who, that got screwed over for a part. In retrospect, it's probably a good thing for him. He said that she's been in England now. And in fact, she took the very first print of Star Wars and showed it to the press there, and they all trashed it. It's like, what print did you show them? Was it the print where instead of, after George had the effects and, Marsha and the editing people edited it, where when he was showing the fighters going after the Death Star, he used World War II footage? Was that? Because I don't know what print she used. And it's like, why would you do that? I have the theatrical print. I have the real one. A friend of mine got it off of their VHS and their videos, and gave it to me. I've got The Empire Strikes Back, the OG one, and Return of the Jedi, OG. So it's like, what is, I don't, so, well, I mean, you all know that my respect for her intellectual qualities is pretty much her taste in art. And it's just, but why would she go after Cameron? I know why. Because he knows what's going on. I have other people telling me. You guys remember Lord Toranaga? Not going to say who he is. He is a professor at one of the local universities there, and he used to do development for a company. And he knows, he's got friends in the on the seventh floor of several different big studios. He went out to have drinks with a friend of his. That friend said, yes, Lucasfilm is in turmoil. It looks like Kennedy's leaving. And it's like, okay. And this was after Indy 5 came out. But what else, what exactly do you think is going to happen? Disney is an entertainment mecca. They do the service industry, their hospitality. And the board of directors at Disney and the shareholders expect success. And when you make an Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, what is my dog doing? Oh, now he's just pouting. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and it loses $50 million because of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and the director, Steven Spielberg, walks out, and this is my theory, he saw who Kennedy wanted to have play the girl, Helena Shaw, and was like, no, I don't like her. I do not want her in this movie. I'm done. Walks away. And he's allowed to walk away, Steven Spielberg. We all saw what he did to her at the premiere in LA. She's up there with Frank. They're both standing there proudly. And Spielberg mentions George. He mentions Harrison. And the person who was the glue through all the movies, John Williams. Not one word about Kennedy or her husband. And that, my friends, is a political curb stomp. Okay. Anybody who's worked in any place and where personal politics, etc., rises to the surface saw it for what it was. Okay. That was a political curb stomp. And I'm sorry, it might hurt. There might be tears. But when you're told by one of the greatest directors of all time, oh yeah, I mean, Steven knew exactly what he was doing. Harrison was looking right at them. I mean, if you look, they're both in his line of sight. And then George is like, please get me out of here. And it's like, look, there are 3 big franchises Lucasfilm works on. Star Wars, you wrecked that. Willow, you wrecked that. And now Indiana Jones, and you wrecked that. Okay. And I don't think Spielberg would have done it publicly had he not been connected to it. But when he says, the water is blue in Hollywood, right? And that was a signal for everybody in Hollywood that we're done with her. This is awful, and we're done. And look, the first 20 minutes of Dial of Destiny was great. I know a lot of you guys don't like CGI, but I loved it because it exciting. It was Indiana Jones. The next part, I don't mind Harrison Ford being older. I think the people that complain about that are ageists. All right. I mean, these are people who, you know, eat Twinkies for dinner and live in their mommy's basements. All right, saying this shit. And you know, I try to be fair, but the woke casting a black CIA agent hurting Nazis. Anybody with any history training would go, what the fuck, right? Then we have Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Arrogant, smug, unlikable. And, you know, Kennedy's avatar. I mean, Cameron's convinced. Because look, Daisy Ridley, brunette, British landed gentry. The chick that played Jyn Erso, brunette, British. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, tall, brunette, British. Kennedy, that's what she thinks she is. And it's like, why don't you just cast Daisy Ridley for all of it? Okay, I mean, really, that's what you should do. It's just, I mean, but that's why, look, it's not hard to do Indiana Jones. It's not hard to do Star Wars. When Kennedy was quoted saying all of these stories are particularly hard nuts to crack, I'm like, and then she goes on to say, we didn't have any books. We don't have any books. We don't have any comic books. What? I have at least 24 EU novels. Several of them could have been great movies. Darth Plagueis would be a great movie. Revan would be a great movie. Honor Among Thieves is a wonderful book. Would have been a great movie. But no. Instead of doing something original, they just reboot the original trilogy and fall on their asses, right? And it's like, you know, and like I said before in my upload, please watch that, by the way. It's getting killed in the algorithm. When you watch when you see what's going on, John and Dave plant things like Mandalorian. But Kennedy's there like a big scarecrow, scaring off the fans. They plant things like Ahsoka. Ahsoka's a good show, and if you're paying attention to it, there's something going on with the timeline. Because Anakin is now in the world between worlds. He's literally doing what the father in the Mortis arc in Clone Wars asked him to do. Take over, I'm dying, you need to come here and balance my son and my daughter out. He's there. And, you sit there and go, why can't you guys see that? It's Kennedy. She's the scarecrow in the cornfield, scaring all the crows away, all the fans away. And it's like, doesn't people understand? Back in the day, this was called box office poison. And that concept is still real. And in this day and age, where the movie business really is in bad trouble, I think it's something that people need to think about. What is good for the franchise? Let's see how the fans react to this person's name. Oh, they don't like him? Okay, right? And I think The problem that Star Wars has, at least with the black pills like Pro and Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic, is that with her still being there, they can fashion a narrative. Even if it's in front of your face, but that's not what is happening here. Because they make money. They're also helping Kennedy. Now, if you told them that, they would get mad. But it's like I said, never get in your enemy's way when they're making a mistake. And that's exactly what they're doing by their black pill nonsense. Well, it's like I just go, the changes can't come soon enough, right? They can't come soon enough. And problem with my channel is, I think I know who's doing this. You guys know that Pablo left X and now he's back. He's got a secret account there. It's really interesting. So I think he's spying on people. And whatever, that's okay. I don't care. But it's really interesting to me that he came back, and that's why I kind of think it's somebody from that side. And I tell you guys this, I got some really weird text messages last year, a year ago, last winter. Cameron's, I think I sent copies of them to him and some other people. We're over the target. They know their time is up. They were only ever a gimmick and a trend. That doesn't last. It's like, suddenly New York City is full of apartments painted bright pink. That trend lasts for about 5 minutes, and they're back to colors that won't kill you by, through eye pollution. It's a trend. DEI is a trend. It's dead. Doesn't work. Doesn't make money. This woke shit is dead. And no amount of screaming, censorship, canceling people is going to stop that. I'm going to leave you guys with this. When Donald Trump survived getting shot, that was when he won the election. He won by a lot. 77 million maybe, Americans voted for him. And that should have been the signal for these people that their time is over. And they need to either do the work or go to be activists or do something, because this era has passed them by. It lasted from 2012 to about 2022. Okay, and now it's dead. It's over. And I really think that we're seeing a lashing out at people like me, like Cameron, and Hollywood's got to get back to telling stories and get out of the activist business. Maybe Pablo could get a job at Universal, writing stuff for the Transformers. I don't know. But it's passed him by. No one wants this shit anymore. And abusing the algorithm of YouTube and attacking a little channel like mine is weak sauce. And, if you got something to say, I've got my DMs open on X. Tell me. I'd be glad to have a civil conversation. But if all you can do is cancel people and attack them, just like you did Gina Carano, then you're a worthless, gutless wonder. That's all I can say. Anyway, okay, you guys, I gotta go because my voice is going. So I just want to tell you guys what's going on. I do have a Rumble address. I've also got Discord and Odyssey. And we'll see where this goes. I'm also going to start uploading my uploads from here onto X. Okay. So this is Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.